I used to spend so much time, like people would I'd get inquiries through our website, and they would tell me their word count and whatever. And I would spend all this time figuring out what the approximate cost would be, even though I didn't have all the information that would be most helpful, right? And then I'm like writing up these proposals and sending them out and then not hearing back from anyone.
Even though it feels like an oxymoron, right? Like work with your WOW clients and have more business. We think that's absolutely impossible because I only have a few WOW clients. So how am I going to run my business off a few clients? That's where the mindset goes. But the reality is when you actually give all of your attention to your WOW clients, the results go up, the revenue goes up, they start spending more money with you, more time, the lifetime value goes up because they're, you know, with you longer, more transactions, all of that. Plus then they become raving fans, and then they're referring people that are like kind because we typically hang out with people like us. So though I call that the 4 R's, as you well know, and I just, that transformed my life and my business. So now, just coming to that, because I know you've been going with this methodology for quite some time now, what would you say the results are from just focusing on the WOW clients?
Oh, it's such a huge difference. First of all, I'm happier. You know, I mean, just on the most fundamental level, life just feels better, you know, but it just really, it transforms everything. It transforms how I feel about my work, you know, the energy I can give to my WOW clients, the revenue. It's like my revenue is way up from where it was before. And, you know, I've turned away clients or potential clients that didn't feel like they were a good fit in the interim, which I wouldn't have done before. So huge difference.
Yeah. And just in contrast, the cost, you know, I know I think none of us, even me, I didn't see the cost until you start looking at it. But then you start to realize when you solve those few remnant OW clients as you move towards this, or even if you accidentally grab one during this process, that you're like, oh, wow, look how much this cost me, you know?
Yeah.
It's, it adds up. And with that, and having had all this success, maybe let's just take a moment to go back in time. What was it like before, moving forward in this direction with all this happiness and joy and growth? I know it wasn't always that way. So maybe just so the audience can get a little perspective here.
Yeah. So I was, before we started working together, I was sole proprietor. I was really wearing all the hats in my business, and my work schedule was kind of like get up in the morning, work until I just couldn't function any longer, and then fall into bed, and then try and sleep, and then do it again another, and that would go on and on. Now, that's not to say that I would never take breaks or wouldn't take time out for family or something, like, because family's always been like my very favorite thing, family time. But, for the last several years, my kids were grown. So it was mostly just me working. And it was exhausting, frustrating in many ways. And I was also going project by project. I was having that up and down, that, do great for a while. I'm in a project, super. And then it comes to an end. It's like, oh my God, I need to, find more work. And then I would be trying to pitch people, and I'm like looking for networking places. Did a lot of networking, and, networking's great, but not with the stress of like this feeling of I have to pitch. I have to find my clients in this kind of fishing way, it's just a whole different experience than I've been having since. And it was hard. I was not, my life was just not as happy as it is now. I didn't have nearly as much of a feeling of peace and balance as I do now. Life is so much more enjoyable.
Well, that's so, I mean, I'm so happy for you, and thank you for sharing that. And speaking of that, like maybe share a little bit where it is now, like just so we can see both sides of this coin.
Yeah. So now, first of all, I'm working many fewer hours, and I'm still, it's still a work in progress. I'm still working more than 40 hours a week. Um, Part of that's because I love what I do so much, and I'm working with all these great people. So, um, but I'm still, it's an ongoing process in terms of finding that balance in my life. But oh my gosh, my income is way up. Even in the last few months, we've gotten our biggest projects ever. Um, Really exciting, creative work that I just love. Um, and I'm not pitching anymore. I used to spend so much time, like people I'd get inquiries through our website, and they would tell me their word count and whatever. And I would spend all this time figuring out what the approximate cost would be, even though I didn't have all the information that would
Right.
be most helpful, right? And then I'm like writing up these proposals and sending them out and then not hearing back from anyone. I spent so much time, just wasted time doing that. I don't do that anymore. Now I'm actually in conversation with people. First I'm figuring out if it feels like we might be a good fit for each other and if I can help them. And then we go to another meeting, and then we get a little deeper into it. And I'm able to ask these questions that help me get into a deeper conversation and get much better information, so I know where they're going. And then I can better also figure out, am I the right person to help them? And if I am, then I can make an offer and, usually go forward together. It's so much easier, so much more enjoyable.
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clearpath to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients, so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.